Hi, sounds good. Excellent.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wrestling with Whiskey Weekly off episode. I know we're on a Monday. This is normally a Wednesday show. But this coming Wednesday is my wife's birthday. So I had to make arrangements because I will be spending that day with the lady. But thank you guys, everybody who's in the chat. Wes is in the chat, of course. LJ, Arcanus is in the chat. Sardog, what's going on? My good friend Digi from Twitch is in the chat. Mr. Whiskey in the chat as well. What's going on, guys? Thank you guys for being here. It's always fun doing these barrel picks. The new thing, if you're part of the Wrestling with Whiskey Single Barrel Club, if you're not, you should be, and you're a moron, especially if you do live in one of the 30 states that we are able to mail to. So check that out, patreon.com/wrestling with whiskey, because one of the benefits of being not only getting access to these awesome, unique single barrels, because every barrel of whiskey is unique, is special. I'm going to be having different members of the Single Barrel Club, so Patreon patrons, join me each pick to help me select some of these barrels. And so that's what's going to happen right now. We are going to get into it. We have 5 samples to get through today. But first, I want to jump over into our interview corner, whatever I call that section of the application here, to introduce our member who is going to be helping us make this selection here tonight. So let's hop over there. Hello, Steph. How are
Hey, man.
you?
Good. How are you?
I am excellent. Everybody, many of you may know Steph. I know there's a couple of in here from my Twitch channel here. Odd Urbanite is Steph. She's always in the chat, often there. Many of you might know, again, either from the Patreon patrons, from Instagram, wherever, however. But yes, one of my favorite fans, patrons, supporters, whatever, just people around Chicago. So, I mean, I give anybody who's from Chicago like 10 extra points above most human beings. So that's our first starter anyway. So I'm super happy to finally have you on here. And it works out because as we'll get into a little bit about you, but you are in, in the spirits, the kind of alcohol industry. So tell people a little bit like what do you do here in the spirits world?
Uh, I work in the wine and spirits retail um, section of that industry. It'll be 11 years next week. So I've been
Damn.
for a long time. Yeah.
Are we allowed to say where you work? Or are you afraid people are going to try to hit you up for a pappy?
No, no, I work for Vinny's Beverage Depot, so I'm not going
That's
to say
right.
what location I work for. So, but
Good, 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 good. Uh, yeah. So yeah, for those who aren't from the Illinois, the Midwest region, Benny's is like kind of like our Total Wine out here. It's like the biggest, kind of the biggest chain, the biggest retail, some of the biggest selections we have out here, and everything like that. So 11 years, really.
yeah,
So what
yeah.
what first kind of got you? Was it just like taking a job because there was a job and you kind of fell into the whole like wine, whiskey, spirits thing, or did something? Have you always kind of been into that stuff?
So I started off in the service industry
Okay.
about 15 years ago. Just I actually worked at the private restaurant at Wrigley Field for a little bit, and
Oh.
kind of moved into fine dining after that. Um, After working in the industry for a few years, needed to move into something that was a little bit more stable. So I found a job working for Sam's Wine and Spirits, which was around for a while. Started off working out in their call center, kind of taking orders and doing deliveries for customers.
Hmm.
And a couple years after that, Benny's came in and took them over. Started off again doing orders, and then slowly just built myself up, and I'm currently an assistant general manager.
Nice. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, you find something, you kind of stick to it. I mean, what turned you on to like what turned you into whiskey in particular?
So I really didn't start getting into whiskey until maybe 3, 4 years ago. Was more of a beer person. Um, to me, whiskey just seemed a little bit more daunting than other aspects of the wine and spirits industry. But thankfully, knowing a lot of people in the industry and talking to them and them kind of making the transition from beer to spirits a lot easier, it just piqued my interest even more.
Okay. So I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will be wondering. I kind of am curious. Oh, and yes, Dan, that's a great point in the chat. Excellent shirt that Steph has on. It is the Drama Club shirt. That's right. Represent. That's the crew. That's another kind of a Twitch thing or whatever. But those prowrestlingtees.com/wrestling with whiskey. If you guys want to get your hands on them, we got wrestling with whiskey shirts too. Um, but working with Benny's and being in a managerial role, like, have you had the chance to kind of take part in? I don't even know what it'd be like, either tasting panels or like barrel pick kind of decision. I don't know who does that, but do you ever get to do those kind of tasting things at work?
So we do when before the pandemic happened, we would have groups at our corporate office would set up to where employees either working in specific areas of the store or even management just kind of learn more about certain portfolios, i.e.,
Sure.
bourbon, Irish whiskey, rum, and kind of go through a gamut of different items, for those categories. I was lucky enough 2 years ago to do a barrel pick with Old Forester. I got chosen to go down to the Bourbon Women's Symposium in Louisville. So about seven of us went down. We got to do the conference, a bunch of different panels. And on the last day there, we actually picked two barrels that we sold in store for Benny's.
That's right. I
Um,
remember that. That was very cool.
so that was a great experience. And then recently, this past February, um, I was picked again to do barrel picks with Patron in Mexico.
Patron barrel picks?
Yeah, yeah, we did five
Damn.
picks. They were delicious.
Wow. That's really cool. How? So were they? I mean, if you're doing a barrel pick, obviously it's aged. So is it like an añejo or was it a reposado? I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right.
Sure. Yeah. So we actually picked two reposados,
Okay.
two añejos, and then we did one of their Roca Patrons, which is kind
Okay.
of a little higher end barrels that we did a pick on, which was absolutely delicious.
Wow.
And that was like We were only down there for about a day and a half, but it was a fantastic experience.
Yeah. I feel like whiskey's kind of led the way, and I think as more I think spirit industries get more like specialized. I think like we're gonna start seeing rum barrel more. There already are, but I mean more rum barrel picks, more cognac barrel picks. I think tequila, like barrel aged tequilas, barrel picks. I think like that this whole specialized thing that I think that whiskey's kind of brought to like this whole that we know about this whole whiskey nerd culture. I think that's gonna start popping up in like every spirit over the next couple of years. I could see that happening.
Oh, definitely. I'm really enjoying all the crossover stuff that's happening right now, particularly with rum. There
Oh
is
yeah.
so much good rum out there right now. It's insane. Plantation is doing some really fantastic stuff. And it's just, I mean, some of the stuff is almost becoming allocated, like a lot of the bourbons that we see, like E.H. Taylor, Blanton to some effect. So,
Mm-hmm. Oh God, don't say it. Yeah, that's the only downside is as those industries grow and everything like that
yeah,
is then yeah people start snatching it up and everything like that.
yep.
But it is not wrestling with rum today. It is not wrestling with tequila. It might be at some point, but today it is not. Today it is wrestling with whiskey, and we have 5 different Woodinville whiskey barrel pick selections options for those of us who are in the Wrestling with Whiskey Single Barrel Club. This will be the second pick. We did one with 1.8, which is going to be hopefully coming in a couple of weeks, arriving. That'll be awesome. And a couple in the pipeline. But this one I've been very excited about. They've been doing some super, super cool things. Right just before we begin, I did talk to some of the crew at Woodinville prior to this. Everything here is somewhere, I think pretty much everything they have is right around the 5-year mark. So we're looking at about 5-year-ish product. They're aging 53-gallon barrels. It is a mash of 72% corn, 22% rye, and 6% malted barley. It is all Washington grain. So I guess there is a partnered family farm that they get all their corn and rye and everything from. The barley they get from a malting house, but even that is with Washington sourced barley to make that malted barley. So it is a whole Washington centered grain to glass kind of thing. And one other thing I would be remiss if I didn't say, they talked about when they were, because they've been around for 10 years. People don't realize that. They're one of the kind of first real craft. I mean, they were trying to get their stuff going in '08 when money was not going anywhere. And they, after like a couple dozen different bank loan applications, they finally got one and started their little distillery there in Woodinville. But when they were going through different, I guess, so they have Independent Stave Company for their barrels, like many do, but they sent them 24 different barrel types to kind of play with and see what they liked. And they settled on a barrel. All their barrels have an 18-month seasoning. So they sit out and season for 18 months, and then a heavy toast and a heavy char combo. So they're kind of like their own unique. It's not just like a standard number 4 char or number 3 char like a lot of the big Kentucky houses use. So they kind of got their own thing going. It's pretty cool. They also, one more thing, and we will get to tasting whiskey. I'm just nerding out for a second, chat, so it'll be cool. Like a lot of really cool places are doing, and Steph, I'm sure you've seen this in some of the things. These like the standard for bourbon in this country is it can't be distilled higher than 160 and go into the barrel any higher than 125. But a lot of people now are kind of cranking that back because it gets you a better product, even though it is a little bit more expensive to make up front. So Woodinville only distills to 140, so they're well below the maximum allowed by law, and they go into the barrel at 110, 15 proof points lower than they legally have to. So we're talking about today we're talking about barrel proofs anywhere from 119 to 121, and so like you're not going to see a lot of 130s, hazmat 140s here, even at cask strength. So which I kind of like. I think you can get more subtle stuff out of if your barrel proof is like a little bit lower. I think that's a little bit better. That's just me though. Oh,
I enjoy a little bit of higher proof stuff, but no, I would agree with you on that.
and I do too. And I like it uncut, kind of unfiltered and everything. but if it's uncut and unfiltered, no water, no nothing, and it's still like 121, I think that's nice. Because sometimes I've had barrel picks or barrel proof like 135 and everything. It's like, whew. So it can punch you in the face. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get sample number one. Yes, chat, you're here. You're here to nerd out with us. So here we're gonna pour sample number one, Woodinville whiskey, straight bourbon whiskey. 1 of 5. Michael Mirny, what's going on? Welcome into the chat. Appreciate you being here. I didn't miss it. Avita is in the chat too. I didn't want to miss anybody who jumped on in. Appreciate everybody being here. So, well, cheers, Steph. Cheers to everybody in the YouTube chat, in the drama club, as it were. So, again, about 5 years old. It's barrel proof. Let's take a whiff. Let's see what we got here. Okay. I'm getting a little bit, I mean, it's a little hot off the nose, a little ethanol-y. Yeah, just, I mean, are you getting a little bit of kind of burn off that or no?
Yeah, it hits you a little bit on the nose.
Yeah.
Right there, but then you start getting into more of the sweeter smells.
Yes. I don't know. I'm getting like, I keep getting like marshmallow. Does that make sense?
I get a little bit marshmallow, a little bit like maybe cherry cordial on that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, now it's calming down a little bit. Like a sweet vanilla, a little bit of like burnt sugar. Getting some of that like peppery oak, just a little bit.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
No. All right, well, let's take a sip. Ooh. Nice heat. Not overwhelming though. Mm-mm. Nice. I mean, again, I always did not a Kentucky hug. It's like a Washington hug. I gotta be appropriate. Very warming. It sits a lot around the front of my palate. Like, I don't know, like the front section of like my tongue and the roof of my mouth.
Just right around here, yeah.
Yeah. I get pretty strong corn. You know, I mean, it's young. You know, still only right around 5 years, so it's not super old. I mean, nice caramels. Vanilla's almost like finish isn't super long for a cask strength product. Whiskey Jason, hello. Oh, welcome all the way from Germany. Appreciate you being here. Is it like 2 a.m. over there? Something like that. Robert Anderson has also jumped into the chat. What's going on, Rob?
I did notice a little bit that kind of like after that first drink, smelling it again, a little bit of tea leaf to it. Which was a little interesting.
That's something I'm going to, and after I let this go down, I'm going to try, because I drink a lot of tea. And a lot of people have turned me on. I've never, without somebody saying it, I never would have picked it up, but I've started picking up like black tea kind of notes in certain whiskeys and stuff like that. I get it a lot in ryes too.
Oh yeah.
Maybe because it seems more floral and like that rye kind of comes through. But okay, I could yeah, I get a little bit of like, there's like, yeah, it's like that bitter black tea, just a teeny little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit, not too much, but yeah. Definitely out after that first drink.
Anything else jumping out to you on this one?
You get a little bit of like orange, but not like fresh orange. Maybe like a little bit of dried orange in there.
Okay. Like almost like orange peel.
Yes. Yeah. It's a better explanation.
Okay. Well, I'm going to leave a little in there. Okay. Well, first, off to a good start.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not. Oh, yes. And if just in case anybody does have any, I know we covered a couple of the topics up front, just a little bit of background info on Woodinville. But if anybody has any specific questions that I don't have in front of me, or don't have off the top of my head, we do have one for sure. I can see them in the chat right now. Ariel, you see, is one of the representatives from Woodinville. So if you have questions, pop them in. If I don't get to them, I'm sure Ariel will. And so ask away if there's anything that jumps into your guys' head about Woodinville straight bourbon. So here we are, moving on to glass number 2, sample number 2. Let's take it. Let's see what's going on in this. Whoa, totally different.
Oh, absolutely.
There is, I don't know, but there is no heat coming off this.
No, not at all. You get just all nose on it. It's not even
wow.
a little.
So all right. I'm not trying to. There's not too much info on these labels, which is good. I actually prefer it that way. And I didn't want to give you any info just to keep it blind. But I will just say this: like this proof is higher than the last one.
Really?
Yeah. But man.
Yeah.
It's all. There's no burn. There's no ethanol off it.
No.
It's a much lighter nose.
It is, yeah.
It's almost like I'm getting like light fruit, like crisp apple almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like white grapes kind of thing. Not quite champagne-y, but like just that kind of light crisp fruit. Yeah, that's very different. See, guys, this is what I love. This is what I love about it. Like these are two barrels of the same exact mash bill, same exact barrel. This is a smaller distillery, so they don't got 15 warehouses in 6 parts of the state. They're in kind of one area, same company, same all this stuff, and yet these things are very, very different depending on any number of factors. Could have been the day, the days they were fermented on, for crying out loud. That's how many factors can change the way your whiskey tastes. Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm getting a lot of lighter notes on that one. Let's take a sip. Ooh, that is super easy to like. I'm not going to use the S word, but like, it's super easy to drink. Again, it's not. There's a nice spice to it, but it's not punchy in the mouth with proof.
Yeah, it's a really good balance.
Yes.
Between spice and just kind of like that crisp, like fruit taste that you were feeling on the nose. I find it so weird. Like some higher proof whiskeys just tend to like go down a lot easier.
Yeah.
That's mind blowing.
It's crazy. Yeah, this one I'm starting to get more. This one's more like middle palate. I'm getting more like black pepper.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still like, again, that light kind of fruity sweetness. Scorpion, oh, better late than never, my friend. Welcome into the chat. Appreciate you being here. Ooh, yeah. I'm wondering if this is the barrel that our friend from Woodinville mentioned earlier. I was telling Steph before the show started. I was talking with the fine Ariel and her partner. Oh God, Ariel, I'm so sorry. Your coworker's name slips my mind. I'm terrible with names, so it's not your guys' fault. But he was saying there was one barrel in here amongst this batch that was that he really liked, and I'm already starting to wonder if this is it, just because it's very pleasant. So you hit it on the head. It's super well balanced. Because while you smell it and it seems like it's just going to be this super white, almost light whiskey, like when you take a sip, it still has a really nice body to it. John, yes, thank you, Ariel. So John had a favorite out of these. So I'm very curious about this one. Okay.
Yeah. When I
So
smelled it, I was like, wonder if this is the barrel.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm excited. So the one thing I don't know if you've heard me talk about it. Some people in the chat have heard me talk about it, and it works better. I find it doesn't happen as much with like single barrel picks for whatever reason. But I try to avoid what I call the main event bias. And if you're a wrestling fan, you know the main event is the end of the show. It's the biggest match on the card, or even like boxing or UFC. It's the biggest fight of the night. But often when I've done my blind tastings, I've often run into like my brain automatically assumes I'm going from worst to best. So like it's good. My brain makes me think the last one is the best, even when maybe it's not. So I always try to like consciously avoid and be much more discerning because I don't want to have the main event bias.
Yeah. And in my experience, I feel like a lot of times at tastings or demos, they're giving you like their best product class. I'm like, maybe mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. Just shock people and just be like, hey, just hit them with it up front or like just throw it in the middle somewhere. Yeah. Let's go ahead and pour sample number 3. Ooh, see now they got me all pumped up. So now we are moving on to sample number 3 of 5. Another one, very, very light on the nose, but no ethanol coming off this one. This, tell me if I'm crazy, this one I feel like is kind of like the last one. Again, it's a lighter nose, but the notes I'm getting are a little bit more like red winey. I'm getting like more like cherry fruit, like as opposed to like light, like, you know, crisp fruit.
Yeah, definitely ripe. Like
yeah.
The first thing that hit my
like a little more like plummy, just like a little bit, as opposed to like.
Yeah, I got a little bit of raisin on there.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like just a little bit darker fruits. Oh wait, I just had. I'm getting this is a weird one. I'm getting like the tiniest hint. I keep going back. Like just on the very back end of it, like chocolate malt balls.
Ooh.
Like at the back end of the fruit. I don't know if it's just like vanilla mixing with something else. It's just.
Yeah, right at the tail end. Like when you pull your nose away, like is the smell.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to take a sip. Mmm. Ooh, that's nice. That's very nice. That's got a little bit more oomph to it than number 2.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like the heat is more in the back rather than the middle or front. So you kind of get it towards the end. I get a little bit of, like you smell the malted milk. I get a little bit of chocolate on there.
Yeah.
On that.
100%. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some strong. I get a little bit of those like dark cherries, but then there's some like cocoa for sure. Nice amount of spice for sure. Further back in the palate. Yeah, that's now we're getting a little bit of the best of both worlds. The nose was light and pleasant and not punching you, but the palate is still robust enough to make you feel like you're drinking a cash drink bourbon, if that makes any sense.
I feel that like malted milk ball scent is
Yep.
aroma is more there now.
That's one thing that if I could like just tell anybody who's if you're just getting into whiskey and like trying to figure out how to taste and things like that, one thing I recommend is huge. Every single time it changes. If you have a Glencairn, you have your glass or whatever. You smell it, you do that, you taste it. After you've something about like going back to it after you've already sipped it a few times, you get different aromas in the glass. I don't know if it's because like you're swashing it and like it's drying on the glass and like some of the stuff in it is that you couldn't get before is now like just living in the glass. Michael, yes, if you can find Woodinville, I did a little review a couple weeks back on this show of just their standard. I have it right here. Their standard 90 proof. It's fantastic. It's pretty fantastic. Same thing. It's about 5 years old. It's corn forward, but it's really nice. And I mean, the other thing is a younger, not me getting younger. They've been around 10 years, but still more of a craft place compared to some of the huge Kentucky distilleries. They're not charging you, $70-$80 for a young product like some craft places do. It's you can get it I get it at the grocery store for $40. I see it at Jewel. I see it all over the place. Yeah, I keep going. I'm getting like red wine and chocolate on this.
Yeah.
That's nice. All right. I mean, I don't want to ask this, but I mean, do you have a favorite so far?
2 so far was my favorite, but 3 is kind of climbing up there.
Yeah, right. It's kind of getting.
I'm digging it. I'm gonna save some more for later.
Yeah, 100%. I'm like, we're gonna have to. Probably have to do something where it'll be like House Hunters, right? Like you get to the end and they, we have to eliminate one because of this, and then you go down to the last. We'll have to do something like that. We'll have to go back to one or two choices. All right, pouring sample number 4. On our way out. If you're new to the chat, we are picking Woodinville single barrel straight bourbon whiskey. This is cask strength bourbon whiskey from Woodinville whiskey out of Washington. And we are on to our 4th sample out of 5. These bottles will be available through the Liquor Barn out of Northeast Illinois. But they will be exclusively available to members of the Wrestling with Whiskey Single Barrel Club. We will have a special webpage dedicated when those barrels come out where you guys have access to them to get shipped right to your door. So, sample number 4. Let's see what we got in this glass. Once again, very different from the last 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I don't know what this one. I'm getting a tiny bit. We're back to like a little bit more ethanol coming off this, a little bit more alcohol coming off the nose on this one. Not much, but just a little bit. It smells different, but I'm having a hard time picking out specifics on this one. What are you getting?
I'm getting a little bit of white grape.
Okay.
But like there's a little bit of the corn on there. There's a lot going on with this one.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot. That's what it is. I'm having a hard time picking like one specific thing. again, I'm getting this kind of, all of these have kind of had it, but this one is not more, again, and it's that, maybe it's that maltiness, that kind of velvety, chocolatey kind of thing. Yeah. Ooh, all right. I gotta sip this. I gotta find out. Mmm. Somebody in the chat earlier had said, I'm madly in love with these samples. I'm like, you're not wrong, is the thing. You are not. They're all, it's going to be a hard decision. I can already tell you that. That is a very, that's a very good, that's a nice, like, robust, that's a good mouthfeel on that one. It feels substantial, which is a huge thing for me. I always say I like a bourbon I can chew on, and I feel like there's a lot to chew on with this one.
Yeah. You take a breath and it just completely just covers your mouth.
Very much.
I'm getting a little bit of the black tea again on this one, on the second.
I can see that. Yep. Little bit more enveloping mouthfeel back on this, or just a coating on this one compared to some of the earlier ones. Yeah, I'm getting, it's like velvety chocolate and fruit. I'm getting more again. Almost, yeah, almost. I'm getting like iced tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that 100%. More. This one is a little bit more bitter, especially as the finish goes on.
Yeah.
But that being said, I feel like the finish on this one is a little bit longer.
Of the four that we tried so far, yeah, I definitely would say it's probably the longest finish that we've had.
For sure. Ooh, this is going to be tough. Chat, this one's going to be tough. All right, one more sip, and then on to the main event, which isn't necessarily the best one. I got to tell myself, it's not going to be the best one. It's not going to be the best one. Yeah, that is a really nice, almost like I said, like a bitter drying effect, especially towards the end. That is an interesting one.
Yeah, it's definitely just the drying effect just reminds me of a red wine.
Yeah, 100%.
Kind of like medium plus, or kind of almost full, close to full body.
Yeah, can get. Very, very true. All right, moving on. The final sample number 5. And without saying, I will say though, this one I can say is the highest proof of the bunch. Yeah, so we have Woodinville, as Ariel's pointing out in the chat. There's a lot. I do know that there's a lot of, like, especially wineries, Washington wineries up there, but there's other distilleries and stuff too, and breweries. It's kind of a little hotbed of distillation there. That's unique.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that one's leaning a little bit more towards kind of akin to number 2.
Yeah.
I like almost like white winey kind of flavors, like white grape, like apple, almost like green, like Granny Smith apple kind of thing.
Get a little bit of the ethanol, like it's a little bit of sharp.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
But light, I can almost get like pepper already, like a little bit of light pepper, like almost like white pepper.
Yeah. I was gonna say white pepper.
Yeah, on the nose.
Not too sharp as black, but just definitely there.
Yeah. All right, let's take a sip. Let's see. Okay. Light, nice drying effect on that one as well. Light, bitter. Again, I'm getting like bitter, almost like fruit, or like yeah, like bitter fruit.
Mm-hmm. Very drying. It's very drying afterwards.
Michael Mir. Oh, I'll get into it very briefly. Why didn't I say smooth? Why did I say the S? It's nothing wrong with it inherently. I hate it as a descriptor, and a lot of nerds like me hate it too, and we're snobby about it. Don't get me wrong. I'm probably overbearing about it, but simply because it doesn't mean anything. Smooth to me means boring. It's super easy to drink. It's unoffensive. It goes down like water, which I don't want that for my whiskey. I want to sip it and be like, ooh, what's that? And that, and it's spicy and it's tingly and it's warm and it's fruity and it's so smooth to me means bland. It means it lacks all that. It means it just goes down easy and lacks character. So I think that's why I never like using it. But I'll often say if it's something resembling, I just like easy to drink. It just which means it's not overly spicy or like overly harsh or anything like that. But yeah, that's why I generally don't like the word smooth, Michael. That's all. Super drying, bitter for sure. Good amount of spice on that one, actually, after I let it sit for a second. Getting that whole, like, tingle jingle all along from my mouth, like a few seconds after sipping.
Definitely getting a little bit of tobacco. Not a whole lot, but just a
Oh,
little bit.
okay, that I'll be perfect. I'm not getting that myself. On the, like, more on the nose as you go back to it, or on the palate?
On the palate, just because it's a little bit drying afterwards.
Okay.
That just might be my
Yeah.
receptors or palate. That's what I'm getting.
Okay. Eric Smith got a run. Thank you very much, Eric. We appreciate you being in here, bud. Check back or check on the Discord and everything for when we make our decision. So, regardless, trust me, you're going to be happy. This is going to be a tough one. All right. So, what I think we should do, I'm trying to look. I think we should eliminate two for sure. If there's like two, if you had to cut two, and nose through three of them again or something like that, if you can, which two would you eliminate?
I would sadly get rid of one. I
I'm with
definitely,
you.
yeah. I'm going between 2 and 5 for my
Really,
second.
you really like number two?
I did, but after having 3 and 4, but that's just my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of bouncing back. One for sure, unfortunately.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
I think I'm in consensus with you on that.
but yeah, what do you think?
So I'm not far off from you. So one was for sure. I'm just like, and I even just took a sip of it now. Just I'm like, all right, let me make sure. And it's not bad, but it's even still, it's a little hot, and it feels very standard to me. Kind of, it's like it's good cask strength bourbon, but nothing unique jumped out.
Sure. Yeah. No, I
Um,
agree.
I think given the options, we just like two so much. I think five was interesting, but I think it was so bitter. I don't know, and I didn't get anything like that made me go, oh. So for me, I think 1 and 5 are my eliminations.
You know what? I'll agree with you on that.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I'm gonna move those over. So over. Do you have any like even like a little just a little tipple left of 2, 3, 4?
I really like two. I think it was a really good balance. But three, I really enjoyed. I thought it like we talked about, it was a really good balance between
Yes.
just sweetness and then spice, and it just felt a little bit more rounded,
Sure.
just in in body. So
Do
um,
you have a little bit left of your samples for two, three,
I
four,
have,
or did you go through them?
absolutely. No, I didn't go through them. No,
Like
I
yeah,
kind of
go
knew
ahead.
we were going to go back around.
Yeah,
So
go ahead and pour the remainder of 2, 3, 4. Just kind of we can get a quality, one more kind of quality nosing and a little sip to make the final decision. Yeah, I'm with you. Like in my immediate head leans 3,
mhm.
but I want to go back to 2 because I do. I really want to go back to 2 because that was the first one that was really like, ooh.
Yeah,
All right, so let's jump in. Although, damn it, too bad we don't have somebody else here. I'm like, what I love, New Riff actually does this when we go and pick with them. If we were in the same place or had somebody else to help us, you get it down to like your final 3, and then you have somebody reblind it. So you don't know, yeah. So you don't have this like 2, 3, 4 bias kind of thing. But we work with what we got. So I'm going back to number 2 here.
alrighty. Ooh,
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting like honey graham cracker now.
yeah, and it's just like sugary sweet.
Yes, yeah. Coming back to it now, it seems much sweeter even.
Like that sticky sweet smell that you get from like honey or like caramel.
Absolutely, yeah, like a caramel candy, like just like a
Yeah,
straight up like a Wathins or whatever it is, or Werther's.
Werther's, yes.
Well, no, Wathins is a bourbon.
Yeah, yeah,
Let me
but
take
it's
it.
definitely opened up.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And that is definitely standing on its own now. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I like about. I mean, just bourbon or just spirits in general, especially whiskeys. You try it once, you go back to it about 5 to 10 minutes later. It's gonna, it's either going to evolve or it's gonna fall flat. And this is
Yes.
definitely evolving.
And that's one thing that I think like a lot of people are, and now it's starting to happen, but like that was a thing, the wine world has been going on about for decades and everything. And then that's the connoisseurs and sommeliers and all that stuff. Um, People are now discovering like, I mean, spirit alcohol in general can work like that. Like, yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
you leave it at whiskey can open up with some oxygen, with some air, with some time. Same again, but like we were saying before, same with rum, tequila, you know,
Mm-hmm.
brandy, all that kind of stuff. Not vodka though. Vodka is just vodka forever. You could leave it sitting on your shelf open for 6 years. It's the same
You could
stuff.
make your own White Claw after that point if you
Yeah,
wanted to.
true.
I'm not knocking White Claw. I like it once in a while.
If there are any reps watching, we love White Claw.
Yeah.
I'm getting more of a, especially as it again. Maybe it's just because we've sipped so many whiskeys, but the
Definitely
drying
feels
effect
more
seems
caramel.
more.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does seem, and I got a little bit. I don't. Maybe it's just because of the mash bill, but I'm getting some of the black tea again. I don't know
Okay.
why, but it's coming out again.
And sometimes too, I mean, to be fair, too, it's like our palates aren't like machines. It's like different days, some stupid things like the air temperature, the room, the airflow in the room, what you ate earlier that day.
Hmm.
If you're stuffed up or not can affect how you like. There are certain days where it's like I'm picking. I remember I didn't taste like grape medicine, like Robitussin, in like especially older bourbons. I never got it before. I heard people say like oaky and grapey, and then like for like 3 weeks straight, I was picking it out. Like every whiskey over 10 years old, I was like, this tastes like grape medicine, and then it kind of stopped. So like sometimes our bodies just go through different things, and things will taste different on different days sometimes.
Yeah, there's so many different variables that come into play when you're tasting. It's
True.
just you could try one bourbon one day and get one, one set of taste and aromas from it. The next day it could be completely different.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
That's what makes it
never trying it.
exactly. It makes it fun. It makes it. I mean, it can be frustrating, but it makes it fun. It makes it interesting. All right, I'm going back to number three.
Okay. Ooh.
Still lighter,
Mm-hmm. It's definitely got a little bit sweeter since we first tried it.
a little bit sweeter. I'm still getting. I don't. I think this is one of the ones I was talking about before. With like this was like the malt balls, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of that malty, chocolatey kind of thing for sure. Man, I'm trying to decide whether it's a good thing or not because like I think it's super velvety
Mm-hmm.
with a little bit of spice in there. I'm gonna give it one more like little sip, but like, oh, it's like I like it, but I don't know if it's as layered as some of the other choices we have. Again, it's like that malty, velvety, like almost chocolate with a little bit of spice and a tiny bit of fruit, which is all very pleasant, but it doesn't feel as complicated, as layered maybe as some of the other options might be. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm on board with you on that.
Like that is really nice though. Mm, it is very very nice. I just want like a little bit. It's like I want that flavor, that like warm, mellow, chocolatey, vanilla, like I said, malty. But I want like just a little something else going on. I want a little bit more
Yeah.
spice or floralness or something.
Or a tad of like sweet fruit a little bit, or even dry
Yeah.
fruit, balance it out.
Yes, please. All right. Moving on to number four. I remember number four was kind of like it was a little bit more bold though. So let's see if it's changed. Ooh. So number four. Again, there's still some ethanol in there, but I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
much more like red fruit, dark fruit.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely gotten a little bit richer, kind of
Yes.
on the nose since we first
Ver-
went around to it.
yep. Very, very much. This one's more got a little bit more of a spicy kick than the other two,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
It felt a little softer at the end.
Yeah.
It felt a little softer at this end. Let me try again.
This one has for sure, for me, the most like coating spice and like mouthfeel from the three.
Yeah.
Like the most enveloping, just like that warm, again, the Washington hug, whatever you want to call it, that just that kind of
Yeah.
enveloping spice and warmth,
Yeah. It's a
which is
mouth,
nice. Yeah. Ooh.
but not in a bad way.
No, no, not at all. Absolutely not. That's gonna be. Ooh, this is a tough decision. I gotta. I mean, it's not a fair question, but I have to. I mean, where are you leaning right now?
I mean, going the second time around with them, I think number two is standing a little bit stronger. I think it's holding up to being out a little bit longer. I think
Sure,
there's still a solid structure with it, in my opinion.
sure. Okay.
Um, three is doing well as well, in my opinion. Um, four has changed a little bit, but not quite as much.
I agree with
Like,
that. Four
yeah,
seemed to stay like same kind of things we got the first time around.
yeah,
We're pretty much there. Like, yeah, I agree with that for sure. Oh, I 100% agree with you on two. It is like, oh, like I'm almost mad because like, honest to goodness, like number three, like I said, like I love that like rounded cocoa malty chocolateness.
hmm,
But like I said, it just I wish there was a little bit more layers going on.
yeah,
Like it's really nice, but I don't know if I want a bourbon that's just nice. You know what I
nice,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Oh. I love that it's a hard decision. It's a good problem to have because we have some awesome choices in front of us.
Yeah.
Ooh. I'm gonna go. I like what you're talking about. Number two. I'm gonna give one tiny little pour of number two. See if I can confirm something. Oh, the agony of it all, you guys. The agony. Everybody in the chat does keeps coming back to how we talked because sometimes even I forget like what we said, you know, like
Mhm.
30 minutes ago or whatever.
Yeah.
But people in the chat are gonna remind they're like, you guys number two keeps seeming to popping up when you guys talk, like it seems to pop and everything like that. So I'm going back to kind of tiny little pour in them. Yeah, there's that sweetness. There's that
Hmm.
Honeycrisp apple. It's a nice. It is. It's a nice balance. It's a really nice spice. Ugh. I wish we could take you all. Oh, sweet samples of Woodinville. I wish we could take all of you. Um, but
Life is there sometimes.
I know it's what is it? Sophie's Choice or whatever.
Oh, geez.
Which of the babies are we gonna have to kill?
Oh my
Um,
god. Is
yeah,
anyone
wow.
old enough to get that reference? Like,
I hope so. Well, that's the one. So like this channel versus Twitch, I think the
yeah.
median age is a little bit higher.
Like the
Here.
amount of references I make at work just fall through just because of how young everybody is.
Oh, sure.
And
I bet.
I just get sad every day that I do that.
It just made you like, oh, really?
God, I'm getting old.
And like one of the biggest things for me is like, and like I'm not old, and you're not like old. We're not old, but when you run into something and you realize stupid like little things, like when I deal with someone who like was born in this millennia, for
Yeah.
example, just like, and they're adults now, so like yeah, we're in the same environments a lot of the time. Where for me, it's like wrestling or work or whatever. They are 20 years old, those kids now, and so
Yeah.
like they were babies when 9/11 happened, kind of thing, and you're like, oh my god, like you have no idea what's going on, like you have no idea what the 90s were, like that's insane to me.
I brought Robin Williams in conversation uh, during at work, and
Oh, don't say
somebody
it.
did not had to think of who that was, and it broke my heart.
Oh, it
I had to walk
should.
away.
Oh, it hurts. It
Yeah,
hurts the kids these days.
just like every little thing now just reminds me how much older I'm getting every day. Like, no doubt,
Ah, the
Tragic
agony of
Kingdom
it
is
all.
25 years old. Tragic Kingdom from No Doubt is 25 years old. I'm yes, exactly. That's exactly.
Oh my
And that was one
god.
of my favorite albums when I was
Yeah.
11.
Oh god. Yeah. Oh, I
Man,
think that just made it hurt. It's funny.
yeah,
All this other talk about all this other stuff that didn't even cross my. Oh my god.
the line "Get off my lawn" just gets more and more prevalent in my life every day.
Very much true. That's
Yeah,
very, very, very true. All right. I mean, all right. Push comes to shove. We got to make a decision here. I mean, going with the. I mean, are you leaning towards number two?
I am. Um,
I think.
I am.
I think you're right. I think it's this nice. It's light enough to appeal to that. It's good, but then it's got a great balance to it. There's still some spice in there too. Even though it's light, it's got this nice punch of spice.
Yeah, it's been standing well on its own since the first taste. It really has.
And that's the thing is like you said, you keep coming back to it, and you're like, it's one of those. Even if it's not like this, oh my god, it knocks me out of my chair. I'm like, you think about what's the one you keep coming back to and talking about. What do you keep talking about? What do you keep asking? And if we're still asking questions about this one that much, it must mean it's got us thinking, it's got us feeling, it's got us tasting. So, God, I think number two is our winner.
I think so.
So
I really like 3 and 4, but I think
yes.
2 we keep coming back to.
Yes. So I mean, go again. We've been saying it all along, but yeah, these were all pretty freaking great samples. It's a hard choice, good problem to have, but yeah, for us it was sample number two, which I did. I didn't want to get into it too much because I wanted to keep it as blind as possible. But I ordered them 1 to 5 based on proof. So 1 was the lowest, which is funny because I think we found that one to be the hottest.
Yeah.
And then number 5 was the highest. So number 2 is barrel number 3581. It's 119.58 proof, so it's 59.79% ABV. Again, these are right somewhere around the 5 years old. I might be able to get the exact age. I don't know if Ariel is in here. I will email you regardless. So just under 120 proof. They did point out, they're like, well, technically all your samples are still in barrels in the warehouse right now. So technically, they're going to try to get it on the bottling line in the next 2 or 3 weeks, but they're still in the barrel. So the proof could actually raise or lower depending on the weather and temperature and stuff out there. So, but based on what we're drinking right now, like I said, 119.58, barrel number 2, 3581 Woodinville straight bourbon cask strength whiskey coming to the Wrestling with Whiskey Single Barrel Club. One more shill. If you guys have not joined the Wrestling with Whiskey Single Barrel Club, go to patreon.com/wrestling with whiskey. There is where you will find the states that can be fulfilled. We are partnered with the Liquor Barn in Illinois, who can ship to 30 different states. And join us, and you can get your hands on one of these bottles. They are exclusive to our club. And you can also potentially be a part of one of these picks, whether like this via Zoom in the world we live in right now, or hopefully down the line as distilleries and everything open up, you guys will be able to do things, either group picks or something like that. I really want to do things like that. So join us, patreon.com/wrestling with whiskey. Ariel, yes, we can get the exact age when we get bottle it, so we'll know, but we all know around where it is. But man, tough choice, that we had to make. But I mean, Steph, it's the hard work but somebody's got to do it. Am I right? I mean,
Glad that you and I are just taking the burden off of everyone else's shoulders, just to pick a barrel.
taking one for the team, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely.
But
If anyone else can do it, so
yes. No. Steph, seriously, thank you so much for helping me out with this. I appreciate your support and stuff always, but your knowledge, your palate, everything that goes along with that. I appreciate you being here tonight.
I thank you so much for having me. I was super nervous to do this, but this ended up being a lot of fun, and I really appreciate you giving me a chance to do this. So thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, no, if you don't mind, stay there. I'll chat to you once we finish the broadcast, but I'm going to switch over to our live chat and say goodbye to everyone. But thank you again.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, everybody. So, guys, thank you so much. Guys, what's awesome, and I'm going to credit Steph with this because Lord knows it wasn't me. It's a small feat, I know, but this was the most attended Wrestling with Whiskey Weekly YouTube live broadcast we've had. The numbers stayed consistent. Sometimes this channel, Whiskey, it's a small little market, it's a very niche thing, but you guys, this was our most attended live broadcast yet. You guys are awesome, and we're going to keep growing that community. One more time, patreon.com/Wrestling with Whiskey for sure. I appreciate all of you being in here. Many of you from the Twitch channel as well. I know you guys all appreciate everyone's. Yes, please jump into. There are Discords for both the Wrestling with Whiskey as well as Drama King Matt Twitch. So whatever you want to do, I've got Discords for it. I got Discords up the wazoo. But seriously, as much as these little events are fun, you guys are the reason I do it. Seriously, Avita, who I know is Winter from our awesome Twitch channel. A lot of crossover here, but no, you guys are the reason we do what we do, that I do what I do. I've turned my life into a giant live stream, and honest to goodness, I freaking love it. And it's not just because I get to play with a lot of cool tech toys. It's because of you guys. It's because of the communities that we create. And like, I've got gaming over here. I've got wrestling over here. I've got whiskey over here. Awesome, tight-knit communities who support each other. Seriously, you guys are awesome. I cannot emphasize that enough. You guys make this all worthwhile. And Raven, yes, you're right. Raven, that's Debo, right? I can't remember from the beginning of the chat. But whiskey and gaming is a great combination. That's true. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go. This was an amazing. We have an incredible barrel of Woodinville whiskey coming. I want to thank the people, the fine people at Woodinville. Ariel, thank you for hanging out in the chat. Ariel, the national brand ambassador for Woodinville whiskey. I appreciate all your help, all your answering the questions, everything like that. I will be in touch via email for all our fun nitty-gritty details involving the bottling of this awesome selection. But you guys are great. I will see you on the next stream. I'll see you on the next Wrestling with Whiskey Weekly. Pay attention to Wrestling with Whiskey on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever you follow your social media. And I will see you guys on the next stream. Thank you, and good night.